Hello and welcome to From the Depths. Now, first forward before we start is that I'm currently on the dev, test and development branch to check out some of the new things that might be coming from this very soon. I do know they in the patch news they've mentioned a bit of their thing to trying to push a bit for pushing this to stable release. And to be honest, I like the look of it myself as well. Now, you might be wondering what's going on. What's this new set? Well, they bit of a shield rework. No, that was actually a previous one. No. Get your story straight. Now, the things that have been worked is a bit of a rework on how temperature functions, and also a complete rework on how ships detect each other. So now we are currently on a dev, test, and development version 1.9584. Detection version 9. Now, things that should be noted before we start is that this is dev test. Things are buggy. This is only preview. But overall, a big warning to anyone that's playing From the Depths. You might need to get ready for this to hit you. So, what exactly is the changes? Well, what are these new detection changes? Well, now, firstly, I would have to say is that the temperature changes have been mostly related to keeping with pace with the new detection changes. So, what we have here, you might notice, is a mainframe with little bits of segments all the way to a weapon controller and a weapon here with a simple Gatling gun. Now, if I go and grab this, you can see I can shoot with this thing. It fires. I've got ammo. The AI connection is on. If I press here on C, sorry. So I press C here, you can see a Raker is the current fortress we're on. It's unarmed. Unnamed mainframe is combat. Unnamed mainframe is on. So it's definitely on, and we also see there's two enemies here, Valiant Skyclear and Valiant Howitzer. Now, do note, I did strip the weapons off my Valiant Skyclear and Valiant Howitzer, just for the test purposes of this. I'll be honest, I'm going into this fresh myself. Now, as you might notice, this gun isn't firing at them, and I don't have any limits set on this. No limit, no limit, no limit, no limit. It should point and fire at them. That's the thing. And the reason why we're here is that the detection has been changed. Vehicles no longer just see enemy vehicles. No. They need to know where they are. They need to detect them. So what we're going to do is we're going to build out here a little bit of our AI connector segments. And we're going to press E here to come into our build menu. We're going to come under the AI section, and now there's a couple of things you need to know. Very first thing, here, general purpose processing card. The processing card unlocks more processing for your mainframe, more GPP. That's totally thrown me off my game right now. GPP. General PP. General PP card. Yes, I know. I'm very immature. The power you have, the more you can process. It is important to have enough for processing for all of your detection systems. These don't need to go into card slots and can be fitted on any AI connector or the mainframe directly. So, in other words, this affects how well your thing today. It's basically like an extra processor, upgrade processor, or extra RAM for your computer. So I'm going to put a whole host of these on because I need them to have my system work. If you hover over your AI now and read here, the mainframe has access to 6 units of general purpose processing power to process detections of 0 detectors. So it actually tells us now we've got 0 detectors and we've got 6 processing power to process those detectors. Alright, so what we're going to do is now we're going to go get a detector. We're going to look here to where we usually found our radar. Now, you remember all those little radars and vehicle tracker parts? You know, this is the actual patch that makes them work. This is what's going to make them work, what makes them function, makes them useful. because right now we can't see anything. So what we can do is we can come here and check. There's a whole list of fucking, oh my god, what is all this crap? Oh god, why? Alright, so what do we need to do is we need to note these all actually at the moment just have default, rather default-ish costs here. Now we're going to come here and we're going to look here. There's a lot of options here. There's radar and sonar going in 360 degrees all around them. There's also radar and sonar versions that go in only 90-degree angles and such. And then there's radar gimbal trackers, IR camera gimbal trackers, more triangular laser rangefinder, and also rangefinders that have a remnants of a very old style rangefinders. If I quickly go grab one here and put it down, look at this thing. It's so adorable. Oh, 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 whoa, whoa! Something's happening. That's currently putting that on as actually allowed our gun to start actually focusing on trying to shoot a target. So obviously that's doing some of the work, but we need something like an infrared camera. Infrared camera 360 can detect the hot targets in almost a full sphere. It cannot look down through itself. Remember that. Can't look down. Our cameras cannot be detected by retroflexion systems. Ooh, I don't know what I remember there was something noting about. Now if I put this down, alright, we have detection. We're firing. But we don't have real good knowledge of where our target is. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna come down here. Back to AI radar, and I'm gonna put on a rangefinder. Now, I believe these actually have, there's not really much difference between these except health and, of course, block has a and also it has different as a error segment. So I'm gonna put this down here now. I'm gonna put 2 of these. And now my gun's firing happily, but you might notice that my gun is only firing at one of the targets. I'm gonna quickly replace this gun with a little bit more potent. I'm gonna quickly build here a gun, a nice big gun. And we're gonna go cram cannon, firing piece, put that down. And we're gonna go elevation barrel. Make it nice and long. And now we're gonna put some gauge increases. Make it nice and big. And then we're gonna come here. This way, connector. And of course, autoloaders. Explosive pellets. All the high explosive pellets so we can destroy our target. These other things also have shields, so it doesn't really matter. And of course, we need ammo. Now, if we go check here, this thing hasn't received any sort of damage, which is a bit of a problem. And the shot goes and goes and goes and goes and goes and goes and missed. So, first thing you can note is that we have some problems here. We're not really having a very accurate shot, so let's try and improve that. Yeah, let's check out the detection. Okay, so it's got 3 detectors. The detectors and tracks need 4 power in total, which means the detection system is running at on 100%. Alright, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put up here some extra blocks here, and I'm going to look at some of these IR gimbal trackers. Gimbal trackers can track a single target detected by object and provide high quality detection on that object. The IR camera functions like the visible band camera, but functions at night and works better on hotter targets. Okay. So I'm going to put this here. Currently tracking 1 target. Ah, it doesn't move. Sad days. Alright, now that's been set up. There's on convergence between the opposite ends of the determined range. The longer it is, the more accurate it is. You can also determine bearing extremely accuracy. It's a visible band system and can see through glass. Alright, so that's now, we now have something that's now detecting the range. We now have something that detects the object and something that also detects where it is. Of course, we are firing quite slowly, so let me just get this thing over here. Put some autoloaders on that, so it fires a bit faster. Now you see it's not really hitting, barely hitting it. So of course we need to come back to our AI and left and right slots, actually front and back. Because we need to come here and actually start using target prioritization. Very important, we always use that. Now aim point selection, and of course we need to come here and no sort of any. Oh my. It's firing at the other one now. Well, that stopped it from jiggling around so much, which is nice. Now, what I was hoping to do with this was to have that the one cannon would the cannon would fire at the one target and not fire at the other one. The other one has been hit, so that's probably the reason why it's not firing anymore. And that's quite the basic simple premise to the detection system. You need a detector to see the target. But of course we have some problems. If I come here and show you, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go new object, new vehicle. I'm gonna make a lead beam. Some lead blocks there to drag this thing down. Some wood beams to define a sort of a position for this thing, and then some wood blocks. Now this thing is going to sink. It's going to. Right after I put these blocks. Make sure it bloody sinks. Now, if we come here and go to our AI section, put down the mainframe. And then put on enemy simulator. Activate. Well, this will become another enemy. How is it detecting that? Not supposed to be able to detect that. Excuse me while I just quickly remove some of these. Alright. So, we remove that just for a moment. To avoid any sort of bloody problems. Now... our cannon is happily firing at that target. This is currently tracking one target. Now, alright. This seems to be now working as intended now. It's only tracking the one target. Which it is happily firing at, but doing no damage. So I just quickly increase the accuracy of the gun so I can actually deal with the target it's shooting at. Now, like I said, things are may not work as intended. But with these extra barrels, we should have the needed accuracy buff. Alright, that should be to deal with the target now. Bloody hell, man. This thing, you've got to be freaking kidding me. There we go. Well done, well done. You actually managed to fucking hit the target. Ugh. Oh. And see, this is why I actually prefer using... This is actually why I prefer using missiles and lasers now, and not cram cannons, and specifically advanced cannons. Because the advanced cannons, you know, they seem to know what they're doing. Oh, there we go. That should have taken out the AI. Should revert. Is it reverting? Valiant Howitzer.
Lifting.
Oh boy. Did I mention this is also me checking out these things? Yes, I did. Yeah, the AI is offline on that ship. It's just still being registered as an enemy. Now, I'm just gonna quickly come here and sell this. Ignoring salvage. Nope, it still wants to fire at us. Come on now, we wanted to test this. Now, what I wanted to do is because this is an infrared detector. It detects according to temperature. So that's rather why it's firing at the one and not the other one. But I can't test if it's firing at the other one because it doesn't seem to want to stop firing, or doesn't want to register that the other one is dead. And it's sort of now going crazy, so what I'm assuming is it has now lost lock on its target. Valiant Gaza. So what's obviously happened here is now it's losing track of it because it's not see it properly. So it doesn't know what it's shooting at. So what I'm now going to do is I'm going to change this up. Alright, now the radar will detect any constructor within line of sight and within radar range. Now, I don't know how much the radar range is. Passive radar listens for enemy active radar signals and can determine the direction and range of the enemy through these. So that basically listens for enemy scans, which is nice, which is very useful. Now we're going to replace this with radar. Currently tracking 2 targets. Now it's getting completely confused on what exactly is there and isn't. See how it behaves now? How the thing is now trying to figure out what to shoot at and what not to shoot at. So we're going to remove that because that doesn't seem to get a perfect target. Now I'm going to put a camera here. Now see, now it starts seeing the Valiant Howitzer and Valiant Skyclearer as well. And starts firing upon them. Though again with this erratic movement and inability to decide on what it's shooting at. Also the camera is slightly off-centered, so someone needs to look for that. Now retroflexion sensor. This unit will constantly rotate and search for targets using a laser that can pass through glass objects but not be detected by color camera sensors. The laser will find optical components such as wireless cameras, camera trackers to provide accurate detections on them. This gives a good indication of their bearing and range without them knowing you are there. Wonderful. So that's more for your stealth thing, and so well, the problem is we don't have range on those. No, excuse me. Okay, so those things are not targeting those. So now it should immediately now start actually firing a lot more accurately. But my question is does this thing still have processing power? Now, okay, so it has 5 detectors, of which 2 are trackers. Detectors and trackers need 5.5 power in total. The trackers are running at full power. Well, it's still wavering about, as if it doesn't know what the hell it is. I'm gonna go here to my crime cannon and just quickly see something. Put a predictor on it. I want to see accurately where it's aiming. See, it very clearly is currently very confused. I wonder why. This certainly definitely causes some issues. I'm just wondering, how can I cause this thing to actually hit the target better? Now the thought is, there's another block that was added that I shall show you quickly now. If I go over here to missiles, controller, I'll quickly put here a missile controller. Launch pad. I see the missile block has had some create ourselves a missile launcher here. Now, missile launchers still function the same. They will go after the hottest target that they can find, which is currently that other vessel there, and will hit that, or at least try and come close to it. Put that in group 3. Now, the thing we need to look for here, and it'll probably be at the lower end here, sonar buoy. This is a piece of detection equipment that will detect underwater vehicles if the missile is floating in the waters or underwater. It will report detections back to the vehicle that it is fired from. And radar buoy is a piece of detection equipment that will detect above water vehicles if the missile is above the water or floating on the surface. It will report these detections back to the active radar seeker. The active radar seeker will target above water targets based on their radar profile, which is now a different thing from the normal detectors. Let me just silence this gun for a moment, because you don't seem to want to actually hit the targets properly. Shush. Now what we're going to do is we're going to currently remove this visual camera detector. I'm going to fire this missile now. Oh, for a moment it thought about hitting that target, but then it started hitting the other one. Now that is a radar buoy. It will detect us targets to fire at, even though we don't have any sort of way to detect them. Now, I guess last thing we can show here is detection sonar. Sonar 360 sends out a pulse that listens for returns. It can find the bearings and range of sea vehicles and performs better when the vehicle is large and significantly underwater. Block has a relevant buoyancy of gas, angle of error in bearing as high as 1 degree. Currently tracking 3 targets. And I've come back here up again. I'm going to look here. See now, I'm going to put the infrared camera. It says here it's currently tracking 0 targets. Because what most likely has happened is that one of those ships I specifically built with a heat decoy on to create heat on to make it hard to target, which has now been destroyed because of the artillery and now it's removed. Now, so if I go now normal camera, now that's currently tracking 2 targets. Now, radar here is currently only tracking 1 target. Which is a bit of a problem. So this is roughly the system that we're going to be looking at. Now, of course, there's going to be changes, there's going to be adjustments, edits, audits, all those kinds of things to the whole system. And if we come down here, this active sonar is actually seeing 3 targets because all 3 of those targets are in water. Now, so this gives us, I don't know, I'm so confused. This is going to be because I'm worried about what the cannon was doing. Was just wavering about, not actually tracking a target properly. Now let's try and figure out where exactly is this thing sending the missiles to. Because hooray! Infrared seeker, no, we want. Why is a beam designated receiver? It's just firing straight in. Hey. Yeah, this thing is aiming straight down because it's trying to hit that below water target. What I'm going to do is I'm going to temporarily move the sonar so it can't detect it anymore. Hopefully it understands my situation. What I probably will need to do is just remove the AI, put that on. Now see, that's not even keeping a good lock onto the target. Which in my opinion is problematic. How am I supposed to sense what's there? How am I supposed to detect what's there? How am I supposed to understand what's around me? How am I supposed to use my weapons? How do I increase my accuracy of my weapons? Do I add more detectors? Right, I've now got 3 detectors here that should be picking this up. I'm gonna put the gimbal radar tracker. Camera gimbal tracker. Now, this should be detecting it on multiple levels. It should be able to see what the hell it's trying to fire at. Though, granted, the target is currently 1,000 meters away. So maybe it's just generally the accuracy over long range that's being the problem here. Of what I'm experiencing. I'm not too sure how I'm contested this. But overall here I'm seeing a problem. My AI can't aim properly at a long range target. Especially a smaller target. Maybe if it was a large battleship such as, I don't know, duplicate ships, like a plunderer.
Turning off.
Where's that plunderer now? Now see, now that is being detected quite easily. Simply by the fact that you can quite easily see it. It's actually now quite close. How far is the plunderer right now? Plunderer is like 391 meters away from you. That's being quite easily detected. That's completely mainframe does not have enough detection power. Okay, so it's running at 55%. Whoopsie. Let's add more of these. Try and boost that detection power. If you look here on my screen here, what it says, there's processing detectors of 8 detectors, of which 3 are trackers. So the detectors and trackers need 11 power in total. This means the detection systems are running at 91% of their maximum detection rate. So I need to put these on. So now it's at 100. Currently tracking 1 target. Oh, we're out of power again. Let me add another one. Of course, it will take a lot of figuring out and more probably reading more of the forums before I actually know this. Now, definitely what you're going to need to do is when you start up from the depths again and you want to prepare for this patch, you're definitely going to have to come in excuse the cough. You're gonna have to come in and make room for some detection equipment. The main thing that you're going to need, the minimum detection equipment that you'll need to actually survive, it seems, is just a simple infrared camera, because that detects everything that's in the air and on water, as so long as it's generating heat signature. And then also put on an infrared camera gimbal tracker, so that you can figure out where it's moving and how it's functioning. And then, alright, so repeat, is infrared camera tracker. So about looks like this. Its tracking point is above here, so you've got a bit of room. You may need to make sure that this top bit is like this. Then a tracker to make sure that you can see the targets. And of course, most importantly, is to determine the range, you need a range finder. A short little 5-meter one will do. Now, what is the cost of this? I do not know if these are final costs, but I do see these are not the default ones they usually do for standard mode. So I'm guessing these are quite close to their release state if they've got the proper resources here. Usually it's just like a natural 25, natural 25, natural 25, but I see these is like natural 50 or natural 70. So that's a rangefinder, tracker, and also IR camera to detect the target. Tracking plunder, and is currently locked on. Tracking plunder with a detection chance of 100%. So I'm guessing these can actually detect things on their own, but they only have a small chance of detecting them. Once a target is detected, it seems that it has no problem with firing at it. So you only need to detect it once and off you go. I'm still a little bit worried about the jumping and wavering. How my cannon wasn't able of even slightly aiming staying on target. But that will certainly have to be part of the course, certainly with the new system. Now, one last thing that I want to check, specifically, me personally want to check, is can I put this shit on a turret? Because that will be probably the most fucking epic shit ever. Now, I read in the comments, in the patch notes, that... Okay, go here. Go new object, spin turn block. Because it can go on a spin turn block, and it can go on a turret. Okay, AI, radar, everything here can apparently go on it. Not detected to AI mainframe. So just first what I would need to do here is put a connector 6-way, put like that, put like that. And wireless receiver. And then on the AI, I need to put wireless transmitter. So now that equipped, I can simply come here and go... Yeah, it quite happily lets me put the things on here, which is nice. So I've got that, put the 2 cameras like that. Alright, so that's a normal camera and an infrared camera. Now the question is, as I read on the patch notes, is that it is possible to put them on blocks and they will function normally, but when they're moving, their detection chances drop. Oh, excuse me. Control. Automatic control block. Spin blocks, set rotation speed to 1. There we go. That's going off. Detecting plunderer. No longer detecting plunderer. Detecting nothing, detecting nothing. Detecting plunderer. No longer detecting plunderer. It works on a spin block. Which is a nice thing to know, because what you can do is probably build a turret and then have your rangefinder on the turret. Because if your weapon is going to be pointing at the enemy, you don't want to cover your ship with rangefinders in all directions. You probably just want rangefinders for your weapons. So you make a big turret with rangefinders on them. And that big turret will then have while your main ship has like a camera and or an infrared camera to detect things, and also an infrared camera gimbal tracker to detect to track the target, and you've got those two set up and go. And then on your turret, you put a rangefinder for accurate shooting with the gun. I wonder if that would improve the accuracy of the weapon if they were all on one turret. Probably, maybe. I'm tired right now. I need to go lie down. Things aren't well with me right now. It's let's just say I'm going insane, and leave it at that. But anyways, thanks for watching. Hope my blabbering on and experimenting here has sort of given you a rough idea of what to come. Remember, don't feel afraid. You can easily experiment yourself in the building. Just know you can easily spawn an enemy and just in the designer and quickly just press C. Because when you press C, you can access the AI of enemy ships in the designer, and you can switch off the AIs. Because as you see here, I spawned in a plunderer and quickly turned off the AI, so no, it's not shooting me. It's a big, nice, big, fat, juicy target I can shoot. It's got a little bit of shields for testing weapons on. It's got wood and metal. It's a very nice vehicle to testing things on. Now I can quite easily put there. So, I hope this is somewhat helpful, and you can start preparing for the inevitable change, where we will need to use actual detection systems. And oh my god, this actually looks quite cool. This little detection radar thing is like going, detecting nothing. Oh, there it detected two things. Oh, for a moment there. Now it's just detecting a plunderer. Well, for a moment it actually detected the other vehicle. Detecting two targets. Detecting one target. Let's see, this thing is detecting one target. What? Two targets. Non-target. One target. Zero targets. Zero targets. Zero targets. Zero targets. Zero targets. Zero targets. One target. It's because of the heat generating of those other things. The plunderer actually generates a lot of heat. Because it actually has an oil refinery on board, which is probably the biggest heat generator of it. And also those shields. It's marvelous. Yeah, I will make a video at some other point detailing. Once we've all figured out what's going on, I'll make another video explaining again, when I'm a bit more clued up and more informed. Goodbye.